You want some common sense? Here it is. And I want to quote directly from a transcript. You'll understand why I'm saying that in a second. Quote, "The thing I want to talk about that's happened recently, and I never, from my years of teaching and administration, I do not get into religion. I do not get into politics with my students. It's not that I don't or I'm not involved in them. I'm deeply involved in them. But that is my belief. My belief is that those things should reflect your values, and your values you should get from your parents. So I always want to have the students go to their parents when they have a question about their values and how that value should be reflected in their faith or in their politics. And you want to align those decisions about religion and politics with those values and with truth. I'm also not a conspiracy theorist. I have no belief in some great overarching Illuminati group that's taking over anything. But some stuff has happened last weekend. Now, this was in January 11th, that I have some problems with that I think affect you. And I want you to help. I want to help you think about them. I'm not going to tell you what to think. I just want to help you think. And no, it's not about the Capitol riots. That was ignorance at the highest levels. I don't know too many people who are going to be okay with what happened. I don't care whose side you agree with. We do not practice sedition. We do not attack our legislature. But no, what's going on with Twitter and Facebook and Google and Apple, their decision as private companies to filter and to decide what you can hear and know about. And this is not about Trump. I'm not getting into that. This is about speech. Because there have been times in American history where a small group of people decided what you can and cannot hear. Think about McCarthyism. If you don't know about that, Google it or talk to your social studies teacher. But think about totalitarian governments. Think of North Korea. Think of China. What makes those types of systems possible is the restriction and the elimination of the free exchange of ideas. And America, in democracies, we talk about the marketplace of ideas. Well, what happens when the marketplace of ideas becomes a forced monopoly? What happens when you don't have a dissenting opinions? When you don't have an exchange on competing ideas? How do you know if your idea can stand on their own if there is no marketplace of competing ideas? And I'm not saying that because I'm in favor of Parler, or if I'm in favor of Donald Trump, or in favor of anyone else who's being banned, or their app is being told you can't be in the marketplace of ideas because you don't follow our prescribed values or ideas. I have a huge issue with that. And to me, this became a problem back in the 1990s, the early 90s, and that event in history known as Waco. And I know most of you weren't even alive, but your teachers and your parents know about this. I was not a part of the Branch Davidians. I don't have anything for or against Branch Davidians or David Koresh. But what happened, but because of what happened there, it was a religious group in Waco, Texas, that some folks thought was a little odd, and the government decided that they needed to go in and check them out. And, of course, they were doing some things that most people would have thought a little outside the norm, or maybe way outside the norm. But that's not the point. The point was that a group of people decided that somebody who disagreed, who thought differently or looked differently from them, needed to be filtered, needed to be reined in, needed to be controlled by someone else. Well, that was a religious group, and I belong to a religious group. What happens if one day a different group of people thinks that my religion is different or funny or should be brought under control or should be filtered? Take that into speech. Maybe right now I'm in the norm. Maybe right now my speech is not too outlandish or too crazy. You might disagree, but I'm not espousing violence, racism, sexism, or anything else that as a culture we deem inappropriate. But what if a different group comes into power that no longer likes what I have to say or how I think? Or if they begin to think that I'm extreme? At some point, any time we allow any group of people to tell another group of people, you can't think this, you can't say this, you can't write this, and you can't go to places where it's talked about, that is one step away from now what is happening to you. Because right now, it may be the ideas that you value are shared by people who are in power and filtering those people who are not in power. But just in one election, one moment away, and it can be flipped. I'm only getting into this because you as a young person, this is your future. You have a future ahead of you, and you will be developing your own ideas and your own values the way that you want to express yourself. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on any social media. My children are not on any social media. I'm 100% against Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, not only because in and of themselves are bad platforms, but what is happening on them. I'm not in favor of that. Okay, this goes on, but it's the same tone the whole time. This principal is a principal that, I would love to support the school that he is the principal of, or she. It actually turns out to be a he. It is, do I even have the name of the, no. It's Barton Thorne. He was the principal of Cordova High School, and he's being represented by Daniel Suhr. He is the senior attorney, the Liberty Justice Center, because this principal was suspended for that speech. He's now suing. Welcome to the program, Daniel Suhr.
Good morning, Glenn. Great to be with you.
Great to have you. Tell me what happened in this school in Tennessee.
Yeah, Glenn, this is one of the most blatant examples of cancel culture we have seen in our country to date. And, you just read the transcript of what Principal Thorne said. The irony here is that he was warning his students about the dangers of cancel culture and the importance of free speech. And he's the one who ends up getting canceled as his school administrators react to that speech by putting him on leave, suspending him from his job, kicking him out of his school building for 7 weeks. And he doesn't actually get back to doing the job he loves with students until he has to sue them. And it's just wrong.
Okay, so why did they kick him out?
So the school district kicked him out for talking about basic civics, right? The administrators at the district heard that message that you just read, and they called it unfortunate. They said it didn't represent the values of their public school system.
What?
And they kicked him out of the school building.
What does it? Listen to the rest of this. McCarthyism and all what happened. How many people lost their jobs, their lives even, because of association or because of thoughts that they may have had or just wonderings? Can we not wonder anymore about things? I want you to think about it and talk to your parents about it. If you trust your teacher, talk to your teacher about it. Be aware, be in the loop as far as what's going on. And not whether or not you agree or disagree with the people being filtered, but this can happen to you one day. Can it? And think about it. And just remember, the power is in our choices. We choose our actions, but not our consequences. Make wise choices and have a great week. What part of the principles do they not agree with?
It's crazy, Glenn, right? This is what public education has come to, where if you talk about liberal orthodoxy in your classroom, if you champion the Black Lives Matter or other parts of the liberal agenda, you're just fine. But if you say something as non-controversial as free speech is important, think for yourselves, have respectful conversations with people you disagree with, watch out, because they're coming for your job. Like, that's what happened here.
Daniel, how confident are you that this case can be won and a profound message can be sent?
So this is about the Constitution, Glenn, right? This is a fight fundamentally for free speech in a free society. And I feel great when I got the Constitution on my side as a lawyer. And I feel great when I've got a client like Barton Thorne, who is a great principal, who is a good man, who's the kind of person every parent wants teaching their students these important life lessons. So I feel great about our case, and I hope the school district does the right thing here, which is not just giving Barton his job back, but acknowledging that what he said was right. this is a teachable moment. The school district needs to tell its students that if they talk about free speech in a paper, they're not going to get an F. It needs to tell the other teachers in this district and across the country, it's okay to talk about the Constitution, to teach basic civics, and not have to watch your back that the speech police are coming for you. So hopefully the district does the right thing here and acknowledges what it did was wrong and illegal.
We're talking to Daniel Suhr, the senior attorney at the Liberty Justice Center. Daniel, I think it is important, really important, not only that he's reinstated, but I agree with you that they admit that they were wrong and that this, what he said was right. Not just that they were wrong, what he said was right. You should be able to think for yourselves and discuss these things in a reasonable manner. But I would like to see, is there any way to see something more than this? Is there anything that can be done that sends a message? Because this is happening everywhere, and it's why people are not standing up.
And that's honestly, Glenn, why programs like yours are so important. We have to shine a light on this. The only way we will fight back and win on cancel culture is if people have courage, if they have the courage of their convictions, if they stand up, and if others stand with them. And if we shine a light on these outrageous examples, like what's happening to Principal Thorne, and the message gets out, thanks to platforms like the one you have, that this is not acceptable in America. We still believe in free speech in America, and cancel culture isn't going to win, because at the end of the day, the First Amendment, the U.S. Constitution, that's what we as Americans value. That's what we treasure, and that's what we're going to stand for.